Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Oh no, I think I'm about to have another episode.
Hey everybody out there, Charlie Jewett here with the Renovating Retirement, episode 161. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about servicing agents, which a lot of people may not even know what that term means, first off. Secondly, they may not know the options that are available to them, so you may not know what's available to you. And then what to do about it, or how to make a change to your servicing agent, how to find the right one, and then how to make a change. So let's first define the term servicing agents, okay? So this is not a podcast for someone who's addicted to the stock market and thinks that a financial plan means gambling money by only using one thing. So all of your eggs are actually in one basket. You just have different types of eggs. You've got some stocks, which are a security. You've got some bonds, which are a security. You've got some REITs, which are a security. You have some ETFs, which are a security. You have a bunch of mutual funds, which are all securities. If all you use is securities, or let's put this another way, if everything you use could go up or could go down, none of it has guaranteed income. So none of it has any sort of income you can count on. None of it has extra insurance for long-term care. None of it gets bigger when you die and transfers tax-free to loved ones. So basically, you have risk with a side of fees. You're not ready for long life, short life, sick life, or the next life. You're okay with rough life. You can get your money if you need it in an emergency. But if you are strictly addicted to gambling, this conversation won't matter to you. No one can help you if you want to gamble with your retirement. That is not what we do. I say to people all the time, I'm not saying hamburgers and pizza are wrong. I'm just saying we sell health food to people that want to be healthy. If you want to take care of yourself, whether you have a long life, short life, rough life, sick life, and into the next life, if you want to do true retirement planning where you have an in-case account, income account, and an increase account, and you want to look at all the different parts of your plan and use asset optimization in your mortgage plan, estate plan, retirement plan, insurance plan, tax plan. If you really want to take this serious and play on a black belt level, not be an amateur that just owns a bunch of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and crosses your fingers saying, well, Hope is a financial plan. No, it's not. Hope is not a financial plan. This is not for the person who mistakenly limits themselves to only what the joker brokers want to sell you because they make the most money off of you that way. Not for you. If, however, at some point in the past, you've looked outside of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds into bank products or insurance products, because I'm telling you, the research is in. I haven't released the podcast under this title yet, but the research is in. Financial planners do not beat the market, but financial products do. What do I mean by that? Financial planners, hiring somebody to gamble for you and go buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, charging you 1% or whatever, but where they make the choices, they're called money managers. Edward Morgan Lynch, those big companies. Money managers trying to beat the S&P 500 don't. Just go look at the 4 Google searches you must do. Those podcast episodes called the 4 Google searches you must do. I did 4 of them. One of them is, do money managers beat the market? Just put that into Google. Do money managers beat the market? And just read up on it. I'm not some genius that knows secret information. I'm just not getting paid to hide it from you like most of my competitors are. And by the way, it pays really well. Like really, really, really well to hide this information from people. I'm not trying to change the retirement planning industry, and I didn't become the financial services whistleblower because it pays better. I didn't become the financial services whistleblower and stand up to these Goliaths in the industry because it's comfortable or gets me friendly emails in my inbox. Funny that no one will debate me. They'll send angry emails and have their attorneys talk to me, but nobody will actually debate me on television or even on my show, because they know I'm right and they know they're wrong. Criminals know they're criminals. Funny how that doesn't work, but they will send angry emails, right? I'm not doing this because it's better money or super comfortable. I can't not do it. There's something inside of me that keeps me awake at night saying 11,000 people a day turning retirement age. And the vast majority of information available for them is either a lie or incredibly deceptive, or coming from the mutual fund sales industry, where they're trying to get you to take risks that are completely unnecessary, and the more risk doesn't even give you more reward anymore. The safer stuff is paid more interest, more rate of return than the risky stuff. Literally everything has changed in the financial services industry except for the message. The message is still pay off your house, postpone taxes to a later date when you're supposed to be in a lower tax bracket by some freaking miracle, and spread your stuff around through what's called a diversified portfolio of only one thing, all of your eggs in one basket: securities, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Yeah, don't pay attention to where taxes are going or how much money the competitors are making at the bank and in the annuities and life insurance. Just look at focus. Let me come here. As they wave that, what is it? How do you hypnotize somebody? You wave that stopwatch back and forth in front of them. The market always comes back. Focus right here. Look at the cards I'm sending you on your birthday. Focus. Don't move. Don't take any money out. The market always comes back. I'll play golf. Guys, I have to do this. I've seen in my own family people suffer greatly from these lies, from this deception. Those three things I just mentioned to you, I call the 3 pillars of financial deception. You should pay off a mortgage. No, you shouldn't. Worst thing you'll ever do. Terrible financial idea. All of the people that still push this are either greatly undereducated or like shockingly immoral to teach that you should pay off a 4% mortgage with money that you could be making 5, 6, or 7% on. Do you have any idea how confused a human being would have to be, how little math someone would have to know to say you should take money making 6% and pay off a 4 or 4.5% mortgage that's also giving you a tax deduction, which could be used to offset taxes on your IRAs, which means you don't pay taxes on Social Security because it lowers your provisional income. But no, let's be ignorant and stupid and just say the only thing that matters is debt is bad. I'm a baby financially. I don't know how to think. I just only believe one thing because that's what I was told to do, and I don't even check. Do you know how financially confused you have to be to say paying off a mortgage is wise financially? I know I just stepped on a few toes. I'm sorry. That's my job in the industry. People don't wake up until they get their toes stepped on. You just travel along like lemmings doing whatever your neighbors tell you to do at parties and never even check. If you checked, I wouldn't have to be the one to do it. Everybody, the very first time every person ever heard, interest is bad. Look at how much interest you pay over 30 years. It's so sickening. It's disgusting. Look at this. Okay, you should pay extra money towards it. You should do an extra $100 a month. You should do bi-weekly mortgage, 15-year fixed. Every single human being in the country, if they had done what they could do and say, yes, but if I put that $100 into my mortgage and I don't put it into compounding investments making 5 or 6%, what happens? What if I compare the two? What about not paying down a 4% mortgage, but rather growing the asset at 5% somewhere, 5.5 or 6? For every dollar, guys, it's pretty easy. For every dollar, you really should just be looking at, is this dollar better saving me interest or earning me interest? That's it. That is it. This is not confusing. There's no debate. I mean, this is why no one will debate me. There is no debate. It's the equivalent of someone saying 2 + 2 is 5, and they get paid really well to say 2 + 2 is 5. And they've got 12,000 offices and over $1 trillion under management, because in fine suits, in these fancy strip mall offices, they can say 2 + 2 is 5. Trust me, your parents knew that. That's why they were fine. Look at all this history proving 2 + 2 is 5. Just shut up. Don't pay attention. 2 plus 2 is 5. I'll be playing golf. Don't leave. Don't sell ever. When it's going up, don't sell. When it's going down, don't sell. When it's flat, don't sell. Blah. Terrible advice. And then someone comes along and says, I don't know if 2 plus 2 is 5. Let's just bust out 2 apples and another 2 apples, put them in one pile, and count them. Nah. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I hate apples, and you should too, baby. I'm going to write an article on this. Anything an apple can do can usually be done better with some other fruit. All right, except taste like an apple or make apple pie. I don't think you can make apple pie out of peaches. 2 plus 2 is always 4. Be as offended with me as you want to for stepping on your, like, what's the term I use sometimes? Sacred cow. Moo. Oh. I don't know how to sound like a sacred cow. Moo. It's a Latin cow. Catholic, probably. I don't know. I don't want to be the guy to offend you. It's just every now and then people need a little bit of a slap in the face. Like, hello? You're going to take 6% money and pay off a 4% mortgage. This isn't even what the podcast is about. It's about servicing agents. I haven't even gotten to that yet. Every $100,000 you have making 6% makes you $6,000 a year. 4% debt on $100,000 costs you $4,000 a year. So if you really look at it like a true investor, someone that understands money, you're spending $4,000 a year to rent $100,000 from someone else, using other people's money, which is a great thing to do. The other person's money is earning you $6,000. You pay your $4,000, and you have a net profit of $2,000. This is before tax deductions, before all the money it might save you on your IRAs and your provisional income and your tax torpedo and your Social Security and all that, before side benefits. Spend 4, make 6. It's a profit of 2. Spend 4 and make 2. That's a 50% rate of return. And somehow the most popular financial idiots in our country write books and have shows, radio shows, saying that mortgage debt is not good for you financially. Yet every bank and every insurance company on the planet exists to get into more debt. They're trying to lend money and pays commissions to a giant organization of employees or agents to get them into more debt. But we're supposed to believe that debt is bad. So the same institutions that are trying to get into debt tell us that we should be out of debt. Guys, dig a little deeper on that one. Okay? So I didn't want to be the guy. I'm sorry if I'm offensive. This is not a podcast. I am not a human being that's very sympathetic to the person that's like, I'm addicted to the stock market. Hit me. Give me some more crack. I don't care if it's making me sick. I don't care if it's killing me. I don't care if I abandon my family. I'm just addicted to drugs. I cannot help you if you're going to limit yourself to stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and say, hey, how do I build a financial plan off this crap? You can't. You can't plan on anything with investments. That's the basics, guys. It's so basic. It's the basics. So this podcast, this show, is for the courageous, intelligent, forward-thinking group of you that either already owns an annuity or a life insurance policy. I would talk about CDs if they were any good, but they haven't been paying enough to really even talk about. There are some interesting market-linked CDs, some indexed CDs, so to speak, that I'm kind of into. I like those. But this show is for the amazing people that are willing to go against the crowd, swim upstream as everybody tells you what you're doing is wrong, and say, I don't care what other people do. I see clearly, and I'm a genius when I see clearly, which is why the windshield on my car protects me from running people over, and I don't kill 10 people a year. I've been asking people for 14 years, how many of you have run over a pedestrian this year? And I've never even met a single person that says, I ran over a small child this year. I hit an old lady. No one hits anyone, and they're on all different levels of ability from driving. The worst driver I've ever asked that to, I don't know which one of you it is, but the worst driver I've ever asked that to says, I haven't hit anybody this year. The best driver hasn't hit anybody this year. Why? Because you have some genius advisor in your front seat telling you when to turn left and when to hit the brakes? No! Nobody needs an advisor. You need to see clearly. It's the windshield that makes you a genius, not somebody giving you advice. This podcast exists to be the windshield. My company exists to be glass. My company exists so you don't see us and you see through us to everything that your criminal advisor is currently hiding from you or that you haven't bumped into yet or been able to find. Because listen, I honor you guys who are the do-it-yourselfers, the DIYs. You've already realized the industry is a bunch of criminals. You're like, I'm going to take care of this myself. But what does I'm going to take care of this myself mean? Usually means I'm going to try to manage my own portfolios, which if the professionals aren't beating the S&P 500, why in the world would you be beating it? Now, you might. Some of you have gotten really good at options strategies and day trading and things like that, or like Warren Buffett, you buy the stock and then you buy the company and take it over and fix it up or whatever the heck that guy does. There are some superstars. I'm not saying it's not possible to be a human being and beat the S&P 500. If you look at Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game, he knows how to find them. Most of you don't have enough money where they'd ever consider doing it for you. So I'm not talking to the tiny, tiny part of our population that's actually figured out how to beat the S&P 500. That's not most of the people listening to my show. And the people that have figured it out won't manage your money for you, so you can't have it anyway. If someone's managing your money, or you're managing your own money, and you're not even considering having more than, having, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're not even considering having more than one basket, you just have one basket with a whole bunch of eggs in it. Stocks, bonds, securities, REITs, blah, real estate, whatever. Things that can go up, things that can go down. Cross your fingers, hope for the best. Hope is a financial plan. It's not a financial plan. A financial plan plans for the things that might happen. Long life, short life, rough life, sick life, next life. What do I mean by that? Income until you die. Income for your spouse until they die. Emergencies, long-term care, and medical expenses, which could crush a retirement. And finally, inheritance, leaving a legacy, or taking care of special needs family members if you're not there to do it anymore, which is a huge part of my world and my girlfriend's world, professionally and personally. We see this all the time. So I'm talking to the small group of you that either already has life insurance or annuities, or you're purchasing them, you're in underwriting, you're considering them. Let's talk about that small group of geniuses that have had the courage to not say gambling is the answer to everything, though you can't plan on anything with it, so how could it be the answer to anything you're planning on? And talk about what is a servicing agent. Well, when you buy a life insurance policy or an annuity, there's two different functions. I'm not going to say two different people, because for most policies that's not actually true. There's two different functions, and you can think of it like this. Is the architect who designed the home you live in the one who shows up when you have a clogged drain and snakes your pipes, and the one who mows your lawn and does your touch-up painting? Does the architect, does the designer of your home or the designer of the building you work in show up and do the maintenance work? For most of us, the answer is no. Someone designed it. Somebody built it. Usually the architect doesn't turn around and put on a construction belt and go build the home either. They farm it out to a construction company with a general contractor, a bunch of subcontractors, electricians, plumbers, masons, roofers, drywallers, yada, yada, right? And then come the interior decorators and blah, blah, blah. And then they leave, usually not finishing any of the finished work. You got to beat them up for the next 2 years to get them to do the baseboards or whatever. But once it's all perfectly done, everybody has built this, they've constructed this masterpiece that the architect designed. The architect designs it. The construction workers build it. And then we go, bam, it's done. Call it January 1st. Why not? It's done on January 1st. What starts to happen the very second any project is done? I don't care if you remodel a kitchen, build a financial plan, I don't care what you do. You build some project or set something up. What happens starting the next day? It starts to age. Wear and tear begins. You begin to use it. All the while, the weather is changing. Tax laws are changing. Available products are changing. The stuff you bought is changing. Your life is changing. I don't care whether we're talking about a building or a financial plan. Somebody designs it. Someone sets it up and puts it in place, brings it into the world. And then the second that is done, we go into maintenance. So why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because this industry that I care so much about, because it's beating the stock market, this is what retirees need to be focused on. Pre-retirees, retirees, people of all ages, once the stock market stopped performing better than safer things, that means you must go get an education. You must study things that didn't need to be studied in the 70s and 80s because they weren't beating the market. It was pretty easy in the 70s and 80s. Take a bunch of risk, it's worth it. 1970, 1999, make 13.5 or 13.78% compounding for 29 years. Booyah, awesome sauce. Ha, ha, ha. Easy advice. Therefore, we have these monster brokerage firms. Now that the market's not paying that, they won't stop. They're still running commercials, lying to people, scamming people out of their retirement, trying to hope that their product will work again someday. But from 2000 to 2018, the market's only paid 2.5 to 4.7% or whatever it is if you go to that CAGR S&P 500 calculator. Just do a search engine, CAGR, compound annual growth rate, or you could type it the other way, S&P 500 CAGR calculator. You find the one from MoneyChimp and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. It takes out the baloney math that the industry likes to learn, gives you the real rate of return. You can see from 2000 to 2018, the real rate of return have been horrible. Much less than annuities and life insurance that are set up properly. So first thing to know is that if you have an annuity or a life insurance policy, or if you're purchasing one, someone designed it, someone set it up, and they're going to get paid. But as soon as it exists, you go into maintenance. Why is this so important? Because you don't have to use the same agent to service your contracts as the one who designed it, and people are very rarely just as good at both of those. Matter of fact, most of us have to build teams where we have people that are gifted in design, doing case design, and then people who are gifted in customer service and tracking to do the service work or be the servicing agent leg of the company. I'm bringing this up because of what are called orphaned policies, or if you have an inferior servicing agent because they were the one who either was best at design at one point, or maybe they weren't best at design, but they happened to be the one that set it up, and so they're still the servicing agent. You don't have to keep that person. You are free to switch any annuity, any life insurance policy you currently own. You are 100% within your rights. Costs you nothing to fire the person that's currently servicing you and move that to someone that you think might do a better job. Now, why does it matter in the maintenance world? Isn't it just, hey, you buy an annuity, you ignore it. You buy life insurance and you ignore it. No way. Try to buy a house and ignore it. Try to buy a house and ignore your backyard. See how long that gets you until the HOA starts taking you to court. Inside of annuities and life insurance, you have crediting strategy allocation. Most products have between 4 and 17 different ways that you could choose to earn money as the market goes up and down. Most of them say when the market goes down, you don't make a penny, but when the market goes up, you make something. I'm not lying to you. I met someone who had over $500,000 inside of an indexed universal life insurance policy. The only reason to own universal life insurance is because you have downside protection when the market goes down, and when it goes up, you get a nice, handsome payoff, like 11.5%, the first 11.5% or something crazy. From the year 2008 up until 2018, the market went up steadily Most of it was recovery from giant losses, so I hate when people talk about it as some sort of growth that's supposed to be impressive. It was a recovery from losses, but it had 8, 9, 10 years of going up. This person should have made 11.5% most of those years. When I looked inside of their policy, and I know the guy that set it up, he does an okay job on design. But as far as the maintenance, as far as the servicing of the policy year by year, saying what crediting strategy should you be in as the market just hit a low and now we're bouncing back, it turned out he was in the fixed account. I know some of the agents are going, oh, maybe clients don't know what I'm talking about, but he was in an account that says no matter what the market does, no matter how high it goes every year, you make 3.5%. That's it, before expenses. And most people set up their insurance policies the wrong way, so the expenses are like 2.5%, which is too high. So you're making 3.5%, you're paying 2%, you're making 1.5% for 10 years when you should have been making 11.5%. No question about it. The agent cost this guy at least $500,000. His money should have doubled from $500,000 to over $1 million in that type of a run-up in a product like this, but he wasn't paying attention to it. He wasn't maintaining it. He didn't want to do lawn mowing and maintenance. He wanted to go build another house, find new clients, and set them up. So one of the most important things you must have is somebody paying attention to all the different crediting strategies, especially if they roll out a new one, which didn't exist when you bought it. Should I stay? Should I go? How much should I allocate to each one? Very important. Rate changes and additional strategies. They do come out with additional strategies that didn't exist when you bought the product and say, would you like to use it inside of this existing product? How would you know? How would you know if somebody wasn't paying attention to this and monitoring it for you? Withdrawal strategies and policy loans. One of the main draws to particularly life insurance is the ability to borrow against it. I teach real estate investors all the time. Stick all the money in your life inside of a life insurance policy and then borrow back from it when you need to make down payments on homes or you need to spend money on homes. Why? It creates a paper trail. It creates interest that's tax deductible. Some of the cheapest money you'll ever find on the planet. You can have the money in 2 different places. Once you borrow it out, it's in your hands, but your account value doesn't go down, so it's still earning the same interest. It's beautiful, beautiful. But someone's got to tell you how to do that. Which policy loan are you going to take? Fixed? Variable? Indexed? Indexed with a cap? A little bit of both? When you get the money back, should you pay the loan off or shouldn't you pay the loan off? How do you fill out the check when you want to pay off a loan so they don't call it more premium, they actually pay off the loan? Who is servicing your existing life insurance policy? How about annuities? Most annuities have between 5 and 10% free withdrawals. Well, when should you do that? Sometimes we should do that for RMDs. Ever heard of this thing called RMDs? Reverse my deductions? Oh, sorry, that's my definition. Required minimum distributions, where the IRS forces you to take money out of IRAs, 401ks, 403bs while you're alive to get you to pay taxes before you're dead in case you do a good job on your estate plan, in case you found a show like mine. And you know what to do. Well, how should you take your RMDs? Which products should you take it from? Which accounts should you take it from? How much from this one? How much from that one? How do we avoid penalties? Someone has to be servicing all of these products, and it doesn't need to be the same person that set it up for you. Why am I telling you this? Because either the agent who asked you to listen to the show or someone on my team might do a better job taking over as the servicing agent on your policies. It's really easy. There's a piece of paper. Say you have a policy with XYZ Insurance Company. XYZ Insurance Company sends you a one-page form or sends it to us. We fill out at the bottom, this is who I'd like my new servicing agent to be. I'd like it to be Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Okay, cool. We put that, you sign it, you date it, send it in. 2, 3, 4 days later, what happens? All of a sudden, we can go in, look at your stuff, make decisions without having you on the phone, or at least talk to the insurance company. We won't make any decisions without you, of course, but we're allowed to talk to them without bothering you at work, come up with the different options, call you up and say, hey, you've got some options, and here's a recommendation we might have. After looking at everything is when we make a recommendation, not on a podcast. Don't choke on your fettuccine, you compliance guys. And most annuities, if used properly, are going to be part of some sort of an income strategy. The entire problem of retirement planning has to do with income. If every job in America said, you know what, when you quit, we'll just keep paying you because we love you, there would be no retirement planning industry. Retirement planning is about income replacement. Social Security will not pay all of your bills. So when you quit, you've got to live off of some of the money you saved. It's all about income strategies. So annuities done properly are about income for the most part. Well, when you go to take income, when should you take it? On the policy anniversary? On your birthday following the policy anniversary, which is when you get another increase to your income? On the crediting date after your birthday following the anniversary, which is when you get credited with interest that year? I mean, if you just didn't pay attention to this or had some terrible servicing agent who was just not paying attention, you'd hit your policy anniversary and turn on your income, not realizing that 45 days later, you'd have 10% more income, or 15 days after that, you might be credited interest for the entire year, or 25 days after that, your spouse has a birthday. And when you set it up on dual lifetime income, it's based on the age of the youngest person. This is so easy to mess up, which means you need an expert servicing agent who understands these inside and out to say, listen, I know you need income. Let's live off of some money in the bank for 4.5 months, and you're going to get 18% more income for the rest of your life every single year. And if you're in a product that has increasing income, why not start 18% higher and then take 3 or 4% CPI increases to that much, much bigger number? You do not want to mess this up. Also, if you're going to take income, which accounts? Say you have multiple annuities, multiple life insurance policies, and some stock accounts, and some money sitting in the bank, and some home equity. What should you hit for income first? How should you do your laddering, which basically means live off of things that are earning the lower interest and postpone the things that are earning higher interest to a later date so they can grow while you live off the lower interest stuff? How about tax planning? How do you make sure you're in a 0% tax bracket, or how do you be tax efficient with which place you start to take income from and how you take that income? Does this make sense to you guys? Policy anniversary, crediting date, your birthday, your partner's birthday, what type of an account it is, how much interest it's earning, what the fees are. Should you annuitize or not annuitize? Short term to create a bucket number one for laddering, annuitize over 5 or 7 years to let everything else keep compounding. Someone has to be paying attention to this. Should you turn on your income riders or just use free withdrawals? Using a withdrawal strategy, free withdrawals for 4 or 5, 6 years while your income rider compounds. How do you make that decision on your own? And if the original agent abandoned you or isn't good enough to make this decision, you need to replace them and get yourself a black belt servicing agent with Ritz-Carlton service. Does that make sense? How about restructuring and refinancing? Hopefully when you bought your annuity, it was the best annuity available on the market. Doesn't happen very often. I do not see that very often. That's why this show exists. That's why my training exists. That's why I recruit agents and teach them how to be a part of the revolution, how to be a part of the team. We need, frankly, we probably need 100 to 200,000 amazing merit planners, amazing retirement renovators to turn the industry around from what the bad guys have done. So I'm training and recruiting as much as I possibly can. But the industry changes all the time, and the insurance companies are fighting for your business. So who says whatever annuity or life insurance you bought at one point, you should still own it now compared to what's on the market? Who's checking for you? All of the time. I mean, I'm telling you guys all the time. Every week, my company looks at policies and says, should you keep it or should we refinance it? And that's a good term for you guys to understand. There's something called a 1035 exchange, which means whatever existing life insurance policy or annuity you have, you can roll it into the same product with another company and not pay any taxes on the growth. It just rolls over. It's like a refinance. You know, how do we understand refinances? You have a mortgage at 6%, rates go down to 4.5%. You say, I want a new mortgage with lower payment. They say, we're going to charge you title and escrow and appraisal, cost you $3,500 or whatever, but your payment goes down $500 a month. 7 months later, you made back your $3,500, and now you're in the black. Same thing. Same thing with life insurance and annuities. Sometimes, is there a surrender penalty to leave an inferior product and go to a superior product? Yeah, sometimes. Just like refinancing a mortgage, you got to pay for title insurance and escrow and all that. Sometimes you go in the red short term. It's never about that. It's about how long you're going to own this thing, what are you using it for, and how much benefit are we going to get. If you can pay a small surrender penalty today and get 10, 15, 20% more income every year for as long as you can live, a lot of times that's a very wise investment. So who's paying attention on how to restructure or even refinance? Sometimes you can do an internal 1035 exchange in the same exact company. We can just, if we become the servicing agent for your policy, look at how it was set up and go, this wasn't set up properly. Go back to the same company and have them transfer it to a policy that's set up properly. And they go, well, we're not losing any business. You're keeping it with us, so we're not even going to charge you the surrender penalties. You get them at no cost. You get the better policy design. That's what I'm talking about. Now, why is this not more popular? Wait till you hear this. The agent who set up the policy gets paid. And almost every agent in the world, there's 1.1 million insurance agents, I believe, in the United States. I shouldn't say world, United States. I don't know anything about life insurance in other countries, guys, sorry. 1.1 million life insurance agents in the United States. Almost every single one of them takes the upfront commission where you get paid all up front and never get paid again for the rest of your life. Well, what's the motivation to service clients? What's the motivation to spend a bunch of time looking at business you've already set up and seeing if you can do anything better, make little tweaks here and there, versus going and getting a new client and getting paid a handsome commission for setting it up properly in the first place? This is where we get orphans from. They're called orphaned policies. Someone set you up, but they're not taking care of you. I'm not arguing that it's hard to do work on policies where you're not getting paid. Because if I took over 1,000 policies tomorrow as the servicing agent, my annual pay would not change one penny, and the amount of work I do would go up dramatically. It has to come from a moral place. It has to come from a what's the right thing to do. Now, there's also a karmic vibe to it. There's also a what goes around comes around, and do unto others, and taking over servicing policies. A certain amount of them should be refinanced right away, so we get business that way and we get paid. A certain amount of them die. So if I added 1,000 life insurance policies I was servicing, I added 1,000 tomorrow, 5 or 6 of those people might die this year, and that inheritance goes to someone, and then they say, where do I invest this? And we can get business and get paid. We get referrals from people we take care of. They get inheritances, and there's new money in their lives. They might retire from a job or turn 59 and a half, and we can move their 401k when the previous agent couldn't move the 401k because you were only 53. It does come around and pay well, but it takes a very, very mature agent and very mature business to understand that and work for the long-term benefit of what eventually comes around. I'm on the other side. I'm an artist in the world of annuities and life insurance, and I care about the perfection of these policy designs and keeping them up to date and keeping them efficient. Now, is my company perfect? Am I speaking from a place where I'm on a platform saying everyone else has done a terrible job and we do perfect customer service? I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Because for a long time, the company was just me, and I'm not great at this. I've had to add team members. So what are we doing? Are we perfect? No. Are we aiming at perfection? Have we at least picked a bullseye and said, try to throw the dart at the bullseye, and constantly making upgrades, adding team members to our service, adding annual reviews, adding ways to measure, should I stay or should I go? Should you guys refinance or not? Yes, 100%, all the time, always adding new ways of trying to take care of you guys. If you don't have the best possible servicing agent, like right now, you're going to pick one person out of 7 billion on the planet to manage these policies you have. If inside your heart or your mind, whatever, you're just listening to this going, whoever set it up got paid, and that's wonderful because they got me into this thing, but I don't believe they know to that level of expertise what Renovating Retirement knows, or what the agent who referred me to the show knows. Consider letting someone else take over being the servicing agent for your policy. There's no change in who gets paid. It's just like upgrading from Kmart to Ritz-Carlton service, or going from McDonald's to Ruth's Chris, or whatever analogy you want to use. You don't have to pay. Someone has already been paid. We work for future possible pay by taking great care of you and making sure that you have what's best. If you'd like some help, or you have a policy you'd like us to review or possibly take over, you can get in touch. info@l5wealth.com. info at L the letter 5 the number wealth.com, or you can call 888-285-2268, 888-285-2268. I hope you guys understand a little bit more about what a servicing agent is. It's basically the maintenance, right? The landscaper, the handyman, the maid or housekeeper for an annuity or life insurance policy. Most people do not have the best servicing agent on the planet. I'd love to offer that to you if possible, to try to be that. Info at L5wealth.com. I do this because I think you people are the best.
Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett.
But that's all, folks.